Amanda, I hope the $1,500 I send you every month has helped make things easier. That deep, steady voice belonged to my grandfather, seated at the far end of the long table. It was Thanksgiving Day. A man who was almost always buried in work, rarely appearing at family events, had unexpectedly decided to attend dinner this year. Because of his presence, my father, Jonathan Brooks, my mother, Karen Brooks, and my younger sister, Madison, were behaving as if they were hosting royalty. The turkey was the finest quality available, the mashed potatoes were drenched in truffles, and the wine on the table was a rare vintage from the year my grandfather was born. The living room was thick with savory aromas and filled with my family's forced, cheerful laughter. Seeing my grandfather again after such a long absence truly made me happy. In truth, since leaving home, I hadn't spent a single Thanksgiving with my family. I hadn't planned to come this year either. But when my grandfather sincerely said, "I'll be there this time. Amanda, come with me," I couldn't refuse. And so, after years away, I stepped back into that house. Yet the flawless setup and my family's exaggerated warmth made my skin crawl. As they worked tirelessly to keep my grandfather pleased, the glances they kept throwing my way carried silent warnings. Don't speak, don't disrupt, don't say anything unnecessary. After the main dishes were cleared, pumpkin pie scented with warm spices and freshly brewed coffee were served. The tension eased slightly, and a looser mood began to settle. My grandfather gently placed his coffee cup down, then suddenly turned his gaze toward me. His eyes held nothing but genuine concern for the granddaughter he hadn't seen in years. "Amanda, haven't you gotten thinner?" he asked softly. "Are you feeling all right? You shouldn't push yourself so hard." That unexpected kindness loosened the tight knot in my chest. I smiled as best I could and replied brightly, "Thank you, Grandpa. I'm doing well. You should visit my place sometime." He narrowed his eyes with delight and nodded. "I'd like that very much." Then casually he added, "Have you adjusted to living on your own? Independence isn't easy." He continued chatting gently before suddenly recalling something else. "Well, at least you should feel secure financially," he said. "With the monthly support I send, rent shouldn't be a burden. Your life must be much easier now, right?" Every fork and knife froze. All eyes snapped toward me as I sat silently at the corner of the table. Caught completely off guard, I struggled to speak. What do you mean, Grandpa?" The words echoed awkwardly through the tense room. "Oh, about that money, no need to worry," my father interrupted quickly, cutting me off. Sweat glistened on his forehead as he forced a smile. "Amanda's a bit inexperienced with finances. Since she isn't great at managing money, we've been handling it on her behalf." That explanation poured fuel onto an open flame. My grandfather's expression darkened. "Handling it?" he repeated, his voice low, barely containing anger. "Then answer me this, Jonathan. If that money is truly for Amanda, why does she seem completely unaware of it? Show me proof right now that my money is being used for her." My father faltered. Before he could respond, my mother cut in, her voice trembling dramatically. "Dad, how can you say something so heartless?" she cried. "You know how worried we've always been about Amanda. She's difficult, and we've done everything to protect her." But my grandfather was no longer fooled. "Enough, Karen," he snapped. "You were the one who begged me for help." The room grew icy. "Was it 5 winters ago?" he continued. "You called me, shaking, saying Amanda had left home, that she was sick, that you feared she couldn't survive alone. You said you couldn't sleep at night. I believed you." My mother went pale. "I trusted your concern and began sending the money," he said. "And now this child asks, what are you talking about?" My mother stood frozen, speechless. Desperately scanning the room, she searched for help, until Madison suddenly shrieked, "Grandpa, stop it. You're going too far." She stood pointing at me. "You have no idea how much Mom and Dad struggled. Amanda, you're always like this, always focused on your pain. Even if you got the money, you just waste it on meds and nonsense. That's why they handled it. What's wrong with that? That was it. Madison knew. She knew everything. And she benefited from it. A sound escaped my lips before I realized it. That's a lie. Every face turned toward me. Liar, I repeated, shaking. I never said I wanted to leave this house. You told me to go. You abandoned me. My mother burst into tears theatrically. What a horrible thing to say. We never told you to leave. Your illness has confused your memories. My father glared. We won't indulge your delusions anymore. Whatever affection remained inside me burned away. No, I said coldly. My memory is perfectly clear. I remember the night I was thrown out. The cold. The darkness. And who saved me? I locked eyes with them. I ran to Paige's house. She sheltered me for 2 weeks. Her parents remember too. How I showed up sobbing with nothing but the clothes I was wearing. Want me to call her right now? My mother stiffened. My paycheck vanished instantly, I continued. Rent. Medical bills. Medication. I had nothing left. When I was desperate, I worked overnight shifts at a diner after my day job, just to survive. The smells, the exhaustion, the humiliation, all came rushing back. And while I was breaking myself like that, I asked, what were you doing? Remodeling the kitchen? Buying an SUV? Silence. And last summer, I added, turning to Madison, you went to Hawaii. I saw it on Instagram. Her face flushed. She tried to excuse it, but Grandpa's glare silenced her. Finally, Grandpa stood. That's enough. He made a call. Moments later, the proof arrived. 60 transfers. 5 years. $90,000. Amanda never received a single dollar, Grandpa said. So explain yourselves. No excuse survived. I'm sorry, my father whispered. Grandpa rose, disappointed, and placed a hand on my shoulder. Let's go, Amanda. We left. The following weekend, Grandpa called for me, and I went to his house. Sitting deep in the leather sofa of his study, he let out a long, heavy sigh the moment he saw me. I'm sorry, Amanda, he said quietly. I should have uncovered the truth much earlier. This is my responsibility. His voice was thick with self-reproach. To be honest, I never once doubted them. Not even for a moment. But about a month ago, when Tyler came to visit and spoke about them, something began to feel wrong. Tyler was my mother's younger brother, my uncle. With a bitter expression, Grandpa recalled the conversation. Tyler told him he'd been invited to dinner at Karen's place and felt as if he had stepped into a movie star's mansion. Apparently, my mother had thrown a celebratory gathering to show off the completed kitchen remodel. Tyler was confused. The floors were Italian marble. The refrigerator was a top-tier commercial model. Jonathan's business is only doing moderately well, he'd said. So where did all that money come from? Don't tell me you've been secretly supporting them too. Grandpa exhaled slowly, regret weighing heavily on his face. When I heard that, he said, a terrible thought crossed my mind. I was helping, yes, but what if that help never reached you? What if the money was going straight into their pockets instead? Suddenly, everything Tyler described made sense. Their extravagance. Their lifestyle. That was the first moment the possibility became real. I should have confirmed it with you much sooner, Grandpa said. I thought I was protecting you. Instead, I allowed you to suffer for 5 years. I gently shook my head. You don't need to apologize, Grandpa, I said. If you hadn't spoken up, I might have lived my entire life without ever knowing the truth. I'm grateful to you. Then, for the first time, I revealed what I had buried deep inside my heart. From the day I was thrown out, I said quietly, I fought with everything I had. When I realized I couldn't rely on my family, I knew I had no choice but to become strong. Strong enough to survive on my own. I told him how I worked endlessly, studied business through pain, and 3 years ago started a small consulting firm. Grandpa's eyes widened. At first, I barely got any clients, I continued. There were so many times I thought I'd collapse. But I didn't quit. And now things are finally moving forward. My clients are growing. I'm financially stable. I don't need anyone's help anymore. Looking out the window, I added calmly, I lost a lot along the way. But because of that hardship, I gained something no one can ever take from me. True independence. When I finished, Grandpa nodded deeply, pride and relief shining in his eyes. You've grown into a remarkable woman, Amanda, he said. You truly did this on your own. But then his expression hardened. That doesn't mean Jonathan and Karen's crimes can simply disappear, he said firmly. While you were suffering, they were stealing from you and living in luxury. This goes far beyond a family issue. This is a crime. His voice was resolute. I intend to take legal action. I nodded. They need to face what they've done, I said. Very well, Grandpa replied solemnly. Then we act immediately. Without hesitation, he pulled out his phone. Cooper, he said into the receiver, his voice sharp and authoritative. I need you to move quickly on an urgent matter. It's a lawsuit. He named my parents as defendants. The charges: embezzlement and fraud. The amount: $90,000. Begin the investigation immediately, he instructed. Trace every asset, every transaction. Gather evidence so they cannot escape. When the call ended, Grandpa placed the phone down. The process has begun, he said. A month later, my phone rang violently. Mom. I declined the call. It rang again. And again. When I finally answered, her sobbing voice poured through the speaker. Amanda, please, she begged. Tell Grandpa to stop the lawsuit. We're sorry. If this continues, we'll lose everything. My heart went cold. Is that repentance? I asked calmly. You're not afraid because you hurt me. You're afraid of losing your comfort. She tried to protest. It's too late, I said. This isn't something reflection fixes. This is the result of your choices. How can you sue your own family? She cried. I finally released the words I'd held inside for years. Do you remember when I begged you for help 2 years ago? When I couldn't afford my apartment renewal? Silence. You told me to handle my own problems. So now I'm returning those words. I hung up. I blocked every number. Then the trial began. The courtroom was cold and heavy with silence. My parents sat across from me, shadows of who they once were. Cooper presented the evidence methodically, 60 transfers, 5 years, $0 received by me. The defense collapsed. The verdict was swift. They were ordered to return the full amount plus interest. When the gavel struck, I felt the past finally sever. Months later, the money was deposited into my account. I used part of it to give Grandpa a gift. The rest I reinvested into my company and my future. It wasn't survival money anymore. It was justice. One bright Sunday afternoon, Grandpa and I sat on his terrace drinking tea. He told me my parents had sold the house, the car, everything. Madison now worked at a supermarket. Their illusion had collapsed completely. I felt no joy, only peace. It's fine now, I said quietly. Their lives no longer have anything to do with mine. Grandpa smiled gently, and for the first time I truly felt free.